Hi folks, and welcome back to another fly tying tutorial. So the fly you see in the vise, I call it the short snake. So without further ado, let's get into it. The hook in the vise is a Hanak H230 barbless hook. This one's at size 8, it's on a medium wire and finished in black nickel. The thread I'm going to be using today is from Simplify. It's 200 denier nano silk. Now the first thing I'm going to do is get quite a lot of wax onto my thread. I'm then going to catch in behind the eye, just slightly back, and get a bed of silk down. Make sure you've got plenty of wax on, you're going to need it. And then I can come in and take away my waste. Do not be tempted to try and snap 200 denier nano silk, it will simply cut into your hand. So next we're going to add our connection material. What I've got here is some £20 backing material. So when you're putting fly lines onto reels, you use what's called backing, and that's what this connection is. So I'm going to and this is essential, so I want to get it right. You can see that the hook eye is sloping down slightly. It's essential that the backing goes in through the eye at this angle, or the fly won't sit right and it certainly won't swim properly. So make sure it goes down through the eye. Bring the entire length up towards the end of your fly, and then in open turns you can just loosely hold it into place. Now I'm going to just take this away to about the length I need. Now as the name suggests, short snake, you don't really need all this hanging round, it just gets in your way. So come all the way up to the eye of the fly, and now we're really going to clamp down on this. Touch and turns all the way up until we get to the end. Now some people say oh, that could come out, but I've tied it this way for many years, and I've yet to have one fail me or come away from the hook like this. The next thing then is to tie in our zonker strip, and as you can see here I've got a black zonker strip. Before I dress this up to the fly at all though, I'm just looking for my comb. I want to make sure I comb out the zonker strip. Now this one's particularly good, it's from Trout line, and it's hard to show you, but there's hardly much under fur. It's already been quite well prepared before it was sent out to me. Now the next thing I want to do is just push back in the wrong direction, if you like, the zonker strip. So I'm going to lay that on top of the shank like so, and catch that into place. Now in the normal scheme of things, if I had some super glue, I would be laying super glue on there at the moment, but I don't. I need to really get that sorted out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some UV varnish. Here it doesn't have to be UV, any varnish will do. And what I want to do is just get a layer on top of the shank of the hook. And the reason I want that is so that the zonker strip kind of adheres to the shank. And hopefully, if I get this right, it'll have plenty of time to dry. So next I'm going to pull, it's just coming a wee bit loose there, that split the zonker strip fibres out the way. What I'm going to do is just get that tapped into place. Trapped a few fibres there, but I'm not overly worried about that. Hopefully that'll dry, and just bend that out the way. Get everything out your way now. Get a couple of turns in front, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand whip finish at the front here. Now the reason I was so adamant about the way that the the braid went into the eye of the hook. If you'd imagined that I had put it the other way, when the fly's been retrieved, it's just kinked. It doesn't sit properly, so it just kinks, and that's no good to anybody. Not for this fly. So there we go. We've prepared the first half. What I'm going to do is get the next hook that we're going to use into the vise. This hook is a Hanak H900. It's on a heavy wire and it's finished in black nickel. Now, this one's at size 8. It's got a nice big eye, which I want for this size of fly. And the thread I'm going to be coming back to, of course, is the 200 denier nano silk. I'm going to get a bit off the reel and get plenty of wax on once again. Now, this time, I'm going to start in behind the eye here, and I'm going to come down the length of the shank. I'm going to stop just as I get by the point of the hook and remove my waste. Now, as the name suggests, the short snake, it's really short. So here's my material. I'm going to measure 1.5 centimeters to make sure I get the measurement right. Bear with me. So if you're a good old-fashioned metric person, that's 1.25 inches. What I'm doing is just getting a little bit of a kink into that line so that I can get the measurement bang on. And even once I've done that, the old joiner's trait, measure twice, cut once. So I'm happy enough with that. So that's tied in and it's sorted out the way. Now what I'm going to do is really clamp down on the remaining connection strip. I'm going to take that away now, and then again I'm going to add more wax. Now this fly is I don't know what it is. I used to tie all my snakes at 10 centimeters, and that was fine. They worked, but what I was finding was I was getting an awful lot of hits to not as much hookup rates. So I decided to shorten them up, and my goodness, what a difference it's made to my catch rate. I'm getting much more fish to the net, and I believe it's because the fly's just that little bit smaller and the fish are hitting it in the correct place. So next then, we're going to add some 6mm chenille. Now this one is from Dave Downey, and what I like about this that you don't tend to get on any of the others, does it make any difference? I've no idea, but it has a yellow core. Again, it's probably a confidence thing. Once you get a confidence in a fly, you tend to stick with that formula. You know, you try lots of different things, and I know I do. I always think I can improve on things when actually I should have left well alone, and it works just as well. So we're going to come till I'm back about maybe 0.5 centimetre from the eye of the hook. Then I'm going to come around, not quite touching turns. I'll bring that all the way up the shank, and then I'm going to secure that into place with a couple of turns. Once I've done that, I'll pull back a couple of turns in front, and then I can simply take away the excess fritz, and there's plenty there for another fly. Now, I'm going to add runners to this fly. I've used all different things, and I'm not really fussy, if I'm honest, with what I have, as long as there's a bit of gold in it. And as you can see, there's plenty of gold in this one. It works a treat. So I'll try and pick out some strands, especially with the gold. You can See, there is some pearl in there as well, but I would rather have more of the gold if I could. And I'm going to tie this in next. I'm going to just take out some of them longer outline colours that seem to be trapped in with that gold. And then I'm going to, on my side first, 1 turn to hold it into place, 2 turns actually, and then I'm going to bring it round to your side of the fly and hold that into place. Now that's looking not too bad. I'll trim them runners once I have brought the fly over the top, and with any luck that varnish has done its job for me and kind of dried out a bit. Now with snakes you don't want to pull it too tight, because then you're getting this slack. You don't want to pull it too tight that way, because then it's not sitting properly. So what you want is the perfect balance, which, to be honest, it's not easy to do. It takes a little bit of practice, this. So I like to hold the bend of the hook at the back, pull it forward, and once I'm content that I've seen where I want the fly to sit, I've just stabbed myself with that hook. Yeah, I know. I only done it to entertain you. What I'm going to do is try and just pull the excess zonker out the way. Now I'm not overly worried about pulling too much, because what's left can be brought forward and incorporated into the fly. But I'm going to get that, and you can see I'm really clamping down on it now, which it needs, to be fair. Then I can come in with my scissors and just take away the zonker strip, ready for the next fly. So we'll put that to the side. Now what I'm going to do is just tidy up this front area a little, just really get that out the way. And as you can see, I'm getting quite a big head on this. Now if you were of a mind to, you could just finish the fly at this point. And I do have some snakes that are finished like this. While I'm just wittering on, I'll just take away, it's probably just off camera for you, but I'm just trimming the side runners that I tied in earlier. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add some eyes. Now what the eyes will do for me is give me a little bit of weight and just make the fly swim a little bit more interestingly. Is interestingly a word? It is, isn't it? Interestingly. So I'll just get them on top, and I know some people will be going, oh no, you need to tie them on the bottom, but you really don't. This is what works for me. If tying them on the bottom works for you, please do crack on with that. But I've got no problems when I'm being on the top of the fly like this. With 200 denier thread, you don't really need to be lashing a lot of turns onto these eyes. What you do really need, which I haven't got, is super glue to go on the top, but I haven't got that, so not to worry. We're going to make do with our varnish here. Use what you've got, folks. Don't be shy and oh, I must use this, I must use that, as long as it works for you in the long run. Now I'm just going to turn it over, get some varnish on there. Now it might seem like I should have quit finish first, but I'm going to add something else to the fly, and what that is, it's from Troutline, and this is their gold dub, and I keep the gold and silver together because I do a white version of this fly. It's not nearly as successful, but the black is a brown trout magnet. It absolutely brings them from nowhere. So what I'm doing is I'm dubbing on the gold, and of course the fly, I'm sure the older generation amongst you will realise that it's been inspired by the Shuggie, which is everyone knows is an absolute brown trout slayer. So I've got that tied into place, and I don't want to crowd the eye out completely. Pull that back, and then I'll grab my whip finish tool pull it nice and tight. Now normally I would super glue this and I would wait a couple of seconds to for it to dry, but on this occasion I'm not going to use the varnish because I want to show you how I finish this bit off. So I've tied that in round the head, and what I'm going to do is come in with a little Velcro brush and I'm going to start to tease out some of these fibres, and it just gives the fly, to my mind, the perfect finish. And there we have the short snake. Now there is one last thing, of course, to get it to sit right, and this is a dangerous bit. So what I usually do, this is dangerous for me I might add, what I usually do is over the bin I pull everything back, so all I've got left is the bare shank of hook here. Now what I'm going to do, try and do it on camera, is here. Pray to God it doesn't smash my glasses as I do it, and then I'm going to take away this part of the hook. In fact, oh, and the fly's gone. Give me a second. It hasn't gone far. Now how would I fish it? I would fish this on its own, on an intermediate line, fast glass, even a faster sinker line, depending on what venue you're at, of course, and what depth of water you're playing with in front of you. But this fly, I can guarantee you, will catch you an awful lot of fish if you take the time to tie it. Looks a bit scrappy, but it looks fantastic in the water. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.